My goodness, do the Detroit Lions have competent management now? They actually might. I don't know what else to make of it. I gotta say there's more to come in this draft, and we understand that. But the most important thing was to not screw up the first round. You had a second overall pick, and coming in, the last pick of the first round. You come in with two. The Lions haven't had that very often. And I think they just aced this. I think they did exactly what they needed to do. The Aiden Hutchinson pick at second overall is exactly what I've been advocating for the last 72, 96 hours since it became apparent that Trayvon Walker was the favorite to go number one. Hutchinson was the best player on the board of many, many, many smart people. So I understand the Michigan State fan perspective. They don't like him. They weren't impressed by him, whatever. I understand some people think that Aiden Hutchinson was not transcendent. I get that. But the Lions got a guy whose basement is a BB plus defensive player. That's like the worst version of how this goes. That's a big addition, especially for that defensive unit, which was 30th in sacks last year, has been basically bad at rushing the passer for as long as I can remember. They had the one little blip up there in the mid 2000s, 15, 14, where it was a pretty good pass rush. Other than that, it's been mostly bad. It's a great pick. It's a no-brainer pick. It basically can't fail. It's just I like going to bed tonight knowing that, okay, the Lions got a really good guy at second overall. Can't say that with even Kayvon Thibodeau, who I still, gun to my head, would say I think he'll be good. But I would be going to bed tonight, as would many people, saying, oh, man, I hope that quitting the combine early thing didn't really matter. I hope all this stuff didn't really matter. And you're kind of talking yourself into this stuff. You don't have to worry about that stuff with Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm not saying Kayvon will definitely be fallen by his alleged character or effort or care concerns. I'm not saying that. But just as we sit right now, I'm glad that I don't have to dismiss anything. There's nothing I have to dismiss in that regard. I like this is like Aiden Hutchinson's like a warm blanket in terms of a safe pick, which has become ridiculously an insult of some kind. This guy can't fail, but he might not be Reggie White. This is a criticism. Look how many busts there are in the top 10 every single year. So you're telling me we have a bust-proof guy that might be great, but at worst case is very good, and we're supposed to be depressed about this somehow? It's just that was ridiculous. We addressed that earlier in the week. I'm thrilled with the pick as a Lions fan. Even the Michigan angle doesn't really bother me. If Michigan came in and dropped the bomb on us the last couple of years as a Michigan State fan, maybe there's a little more animosity. Like, if let's say Mike Hart was an elite draft prospect, which he wasn't, but let's play the game, and the Lions drafted him, and I got to like root for this guy that just kind of like stomped on us 4 years in a row and insulted us on his way out the door, and that would be tough. Like Hutchinson, he was harmless to Michigan State anyway, so who cares? Like it's the easiest possible Wolverine to embrace. They nailed that, and then you see what the benefit of that Stafford trade was already coming up, and I thought this was interesting. Everybody that was anti-Stafford, anti-Rams, or whatever, I was not on that train. I was rooting for them to hell with the Lions pick, but they were saying, oh, with every single win, that Lions pick keeps sliding down. And it 2 weeks ago, it could have been the 25th pick, and now it's the 29th, and then it ended up being pick 32. For all the belly aching about that 32nd pick was enough to do exactly what that pick, wherever it landed, 24, 29, 32, needed to do. They needed that pick as a bullet in the gun to be able to move up and grab another elite player should one become available and the price not be prohibitive. The famous trade chart objectively demonstrates that this was a good trade. Just take the players out of it. Jameson Williams is a high-end prospect. The guy that the Lions just selected at pick number 12. That doesn't happen without that Stafford trade. You don't get without in that 32nd pick that you picked up from that trade. Who cared? 27th, 32nd was the same difference. You wanted to use that piece to move up into the first round to grab another premium talent. It worked. So everyone so upset about that Rams pick sliding down 4. It was never going to be pick 19. Like, let's be realistic. But everyone that was so upset that it went from 25 to 32 or 28 to 32 didn't matter. Didn't matter. They weren't going to get much higher than 12 anyway. And this team still needed a receiver. They got, I would say, Williams is the best receiver in the draft. He ended up being the third guy taken because of the torn ACL. We get that. I don't even think that's a big concern. I had people commenting on Twitter about, we'll see. We got to wait to see how the recovery goes. Like, yes. Has there been in the last 20 years a couple guys that weren't the same? Yeah. That is a tiny, tiny statistical outlier. And it usually is a guy who's 32 or 33, not 21. That matters. You look at Tom Brady, had a catastrophic ACL tear. It was one of the uglier ones. Came back better than ever. Adrian Peterson famously shredded his ACL. The next year ran for almost 2,100 yards. Rob Gronkowski tore his ACL and his MCL. The worst injury of any of the three names I just mentioned. Came back, was dominant the next year. So it was just three examples that I came up with off the top of my head earlier tonight, but they're all over the league. It's just not that big of a deal. And you should be thanking your lucky stars that he had the torn ACL because it made him available. He would have probably been in that 7, 8, 9 range. I don't know if he had the capital to go up quite that high. I'm surprised they were able to get to 12. It worked out great. This team probably just added in Jameson Williams joining with Aiden Hutchinson, guys who could realistically, not tomorrow, but soon, realistically be their best offensive player and their best defensive player. What a haul. That is a hell of a night for Brad Holmes. And you look at specifically the wide receiver room. I thought this was interesting. I was thinking about this when Brad Holmes was announced before the media in January of last year. Everybody, myself included, said this is the worst wide receiver room I can remember. It's certainly the worst in the league. It's the worst that I can remember the NFL providing in the last half decade, at least. My memory doesn't go far back enough. Like, team had nobody, and they with Kenny Golladay gone, it was barren. And in 15 months, Brad Holmes took an empty room, and without spending a lot of money, now it has that room has Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, and Jameson Williams. You went from like 0 good receivers to 3. Two of the 3 I think are going to be exceptional. Amon-Ra and Jameson. Chark, I mean, shit. If he's your third best receiver, you're doing great. Anyone can go sign for agents or go give Devontae Adams a massive deal, trade 3 first-round picks for a receiver. That's not what happened. They used leverage from the Stafford trade to get Williams. They stole Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round, and they signed DJ Chark to a bargain deal. So not only did he immediately, like in a year, take that from the worst receiver room in the league to a very good one potentially, didn't even spend that much to do it in draft capital or actual dollars. So not only does he get the credit for the massive improvement there, Brad Holmes gets credit for the massive improvement without expending that much in the way of resources, relatively speaking, to the improvement. So it's just an A+ night. There's no way around it. It's to their credit. It's a home run night for the Detroit Lions. I'm the biggest cynic on the planet, especially with that organization. And I resent when people call me on it. What organization has been more worthy and deserving of cynicism than that one? And even I'm impressed. That was an A+. That was an A+. Brad Holmes, credit to him. I'm excited to see what they do in the second round. There's like 25 really good players left, and the Lions had picked 46. So I don't know what to do. The Lions know what they're doing now. He had a pretty good draft last year. The aforementioned Amon-Ra, I think Sewell was kind of a layup. He's just there. You take him. But like, it was a pretty good draft last year too. I think Holmes is 2 for 2. Got a lot more work to do tonight, but the most important work is done. I'm happy. That's an A+. It's an A+ for them. We'll see what happens. My dream is Kenneth Walker. That'd be fun. It'd be fun. Look at that offense. Even Jared Goff can't screw this one up. We'll see. It's Justin Spiro off the curb. We'll see you soon. Let's see you tomorrow, maybe. We'll check back in. Thanks.